Oh, I keep forgetting to plug in my headset. There we go. Now I can hear and I can bear the responsibility of my square. Spotify, gloppy gly, beepy die, boopy down. Oh yeah. I need to disable those two on startup. Away. No. Bing. Oh, it's suddenly cold on my neck now. It's warm in my face, but cold in my neck. Okay. It's like, holy shit, I've got so many streams now. What? Wait, no. Live. Oh, I can't get a bigger feed than that. Oh, wow. Well, okay. Tiny amount of... So I have an average of, what, like 6-ish views for each video? That sucks. But oh well, this is the beginning of something big. Those who can't see that yet are cringe. I don't know. Plasticity will be today. Bum 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 bum. Oh yeah, I need that video. I don't need you. No, no, no. Mow. Bing bum bum. Fast result with slot command. 3D lettering in. Oh yeah.
Okay, let's have some fun with slotting. I don't know whether if it is called slotting, but the
Wait a minute, he's got a pie menu?
I don't know whether if it is called slotting, but the new command which came with Plasticity version 2026.1 is called slot. So let's start. I want to create some letters, S-L-O-T. So therefore I would like to toggle on the snap to grid option because the letters will all have the same width and they will be monospaced even though we will make some kerning at the end. But let's start. And the only thing we will use for this one for creating the basic letters is this line tool. So Shift A, create a line which is exactly 10 meters. And now go 2 to the right and 4 up. Go to the left and this time again 10 meters. And here again 2 to the right, 4 to the top. But obviously we cannot snap here in this case, but what we can do is snap here. So let's snap here and we will fix this in a minute. Create a point here and come here. You see all these snapping lines and guides help you in positioning your control points correctly. Okay, that's our letter S. And now let's fix this part. I select this one, press G, 4 to the right. And now we have this italic looking, futuristic looking letter S. Let's create the letter L. And we will again use our line tool, pressing Shift A. The first point will be 4 squares after this point of the letter S at the top right. Exactly here. And it will be parallel, obviously, here and 10 meters to the right. That's our letter L. The letter O will be again starting 4 squares after the letter L. So Shift A, first point of the letter O, 10 meters to the right. And now I go 8 meters up and 4 meters to the right, 10 meters to the left, and close. The last letter T again, with Shift A, start your first snapping point here, 4 meters after this letter O, 10 meters to the right, press OK, create a line here at the middle.
I don't
Shift
even
A,
know
come
what
to the middle to the snapping point,
what he's talking about.
and make sure that
he didn't give any context as to why I'm watching.
Point is 4 meters to the left of the first point. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You have a vertical line which is parallel to the rest of the letters. Now comes the magic part. I select all these letters, look for slot, pressing F. Here it is, and I drag. Since snap to grid is still active, the thickness of this slot command will be also snapping to the grid. And that looks okay, these 2 meters of thickness. I say okay.
2 meters.
That's basically it. And in face mode, I select all these faces. But before doing so, we have to...
Holy shit, it's so distracting. Oh my god, I love the drawing.
To make some cleanup. The first 3 letters, they are completely fine because they are created of single lines. But the last one, so this letter was created out of 2 lines.
Yeah.
That's why here
the
these
trim
intersections
tool maybe
appeared. But we can trim this stuff.
Yo!
Okay, this one as well. If the basic lines get in our way, we can delete them or put them in a different folder. It's up to you. I press Ctrl G, put them in a different folder, deactivate them, and now we can start our extrusion. So I select all 4 letters. In face mode, I will show you also the difference if we select them in edge mode. So in face mode, you can see that we create letters with closed faces, solids basically. But
oh yeah, in edge mode, this would become sheets.
if I press escape and select these letters in edge mode, look what happens. I select the first one, select the second one. By pressing shift, I select both curves of the letter.
They become hollow. They don't have a thing. They only.
And I alt shift select this whole loop of the letter L. And if I now extrude, they become hollow. So you have to close them one by one.
I learned that yesterday. What?
This might be tedious for some letters. I mean here for the letter S, not a big deal. You go to the edge and press Alt so you can select the whole loop, and then
Shift J.
You press Shift J and you
I did it.
Close it with G0 continuity, so patch this hole basically, and you can do the same with the letter L and the letter T. But not with the letter O, so...
Yeah, because it's not... It's... If you patch it, it will also patch to that. Because you will... Yeah, you have to have... Okay,
4 steps to close this one. If you select your letters in face mode, you don't have to patch them afterwards. So I go to face mode, again select all of my letters.
He could have said it quicker.
Pressing shift, and I extrude them, and you see they are still snapping because the snap to grid is still toggled on. I don't want to have big fat letters, so that's the thickness only to one side. I press S for activating lock distances so that I can extrude in both directions. So I press S and look what happens. I can extrude in both directions. That's what I wanted because I want the center of each letter to stay on the x-axis. Okay, that looks okay. I say okay. I don't need these curves any longer.
He say okay.
I can put them into the already existing group.
Ugh.
Now I'm left with only the solids. Now I can toggle off this snap to grid option. They look okay, but in 3D world it's always a good idea to have little fillets just so that they catch the light. I mean, in 2D world you have sharp corners like this. In 3D world that doesn't look natural, so we have to have some tiny fillets. You can do your micro filleting here in Plasticity, or if you export it to another software, let's say Blender, you can give it a bevel, but some kind of beveling has to happen. Let's select all these edges, but you don't have to select all of them one by one. You just press Ctrl Alt in edge mode, go to edge mode, and in Ctrl Alt, look what happens. You select all the edges, even the ones which you don't.
That is very nice in Blender as well. It's kind of a shared feature I noticed, because I use that in Blender. It's very nice.
Don't want to fill it, but that's okay. Let's select this one. Here we have only one edge which we want to fill it. So
okay, I don't think this guy has very much to offer, it seems, at least. At least the way he described things and showed things It did not. I don't know.
The way we
Ooh.
model subdivision surface in Blender has changed forever with the new update for Plasticity 26.1, which introduces polysplines. And polysplines are freaking crazy. So let me show you, because it's a bit difficult to wrap your head around it. Also, I think there's some bugs still, but you know, I'm gonna show you how to use it, okay?
Wait! You can change the mesh in Blender and then it changes in...
So
What?
first of all, what we're gonna do, we're gonna create a very simple mesh here that's gonna be, you know, sub D mesh. So let's just create something simple in here. Let's pop it down, maybe a little bit lower, and mirror this. Let's align this edge here. We're going to extrude it a little bit here, G, pop it up. We can pop another edge here and kind of curve it a little bit. There we go. Grab this one and subdivide it, and we're going to run a circle here with hard ups. So there we go, and let's run that many. Let's mirror this with mesh machine, add this edge, create quads here, and you know, happy days, right? So no, this is subdividable mesh, but I think we can do a bit better. So what I want to do is I want to actually create a pole in here to make this a bit more complex, okay? So I'm going to create something like this, right? And let me just, you know, GG this in here, pop it down, make this quads a little bit more even, right? Pop another one here, mirror, and we're good to go. All right, cool. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab this, I'm going to insert it, right? I'm going to align it with the bottom, insert it one more time, extrude it, and I'm going to delete that. I'm going to grab this edge here,
It's like
and
a
I'm going
belly
to
button.
bevel it to secure, you know, this area. And I'm going to also bevel this one, right? And we're going to press Ctrl 2 to subdivide it, right click, and shade smooth, okay? So now we're going to export this to Plasticity, but when you are exporting to Plasticity with a new bridge and you want to activate polysplines, make sure that you're going to be running a subdivision surface modifier, which has to be live on the mesh, and it should be as a last modifier. You can have other modifiers in here, but this one has to be last, okay? So now I'm going to launch new Plasticity 26.1, I'm going to reset it, and I'm going to nuke this cube because we will not need it. And I'm going to activate bridge in Blender. So now make sure that the bridge add-on is new, so 2.2.1, and we're going to activate it. And now we're going to click on live link and refresh, and you'll see that here in collections, we have a Plasticity folder with outbox and inbox. Now, outbox is for sending to Plasticity, inbox is when stuff
Yeah, so it goes out from...
from Plasticity
Yeah.
comes in. So Plasticity folder with outbox and inbox. Now, outbox is for sending to Plasticity, inbox is when stuff from Plasticity comes in here, right, to Blender. So we're gonna drag this to outbox, and we're gonna refresh it one more time, and it's going to send it to Plasticity, and for some reason, it sends a mesh back, which is this one. I'm not sure why it's doing this, but there you go.
Probably because it's linked, and it's like every time something changes, it's like sending it back to Blender, and therefore when it suddenly got something in Plasticity, now it's going back in.
Well, let's go here, and there you go. This is the mesh that we sent to Plasticity, and you can see that it was converted to polyspline. So we have all these lovely quads in here, right? So now watch this. Let's go back to Blender, and I'm going to have some fun with it, right? So I'm going to grab this, and we're gonna keep modeling. So what I want to do is I want to drop this down, right? But here I want to actually lift it up, okay? Do something like this, right? And maybe we're gonna align this. So this is going to be curving upwards and then downwards, right? We're going to add more, maybe one more, you know, one more subdivision here, and then we're going to refresh it, which is going to refresh it in Plasticity.
Wait, wasn't live link?
And then we're going to...
I would assume that maybe live link. No, live link, not live leak. Live link is, if it's on, it doesn't need to refresh.
To refresh it, which is going to refresh it in Plasticity. Now, what's the big kerfuffle about Plasticity polysplines, right? See, the idea of polysplines is that every single connection between edges here, regardless of, you know, whether there are poles or not, and here we have a clear pole, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 edges coming out of one, you know, out of one vert, and that's a pole. And these areas usually cause the most amount of problems and troubles in subdivision modeling. You need to do stuff like shrink wrapping, etc. This is an absolute bastard when you're doing like car modeling and stuff, you know, because it's always gonna cause issues with shading. Amazing thing about polysplines is that if I run command here, that's gonna be measuring the continuity of edges, and switch to G2, you'll see that our continuity is infinite, which means it's perfectly smooth. So the surface is actually an A-class surface, which is, you know, really smooth G2 connection, right? And every single edge on this mesh is of that quality. So let me show you the difference between this and the Blender, okay? So now the issue with this bridge is that we cannot really send this mesh back to Blender. Even if I duplicate this and I go to Blender, to my Blender 5.1, and I'm gonna refresh this, nothing comes through inbox, okay? I think it's a bug, but there's a way around it. So what I do is this. I copy this to another Blender, which is 5.0 here, right? And I'm going to basically reset the scene here, okay? Then what I do is I just nuke that. I'm going to save this file here on my desktop, so plasticity file, and I'm going to nuke this and close my plasticity, right? I'm gonna reopen this.
I really like that he says, I'm gonna nuke this, because I feel like that's something I would say.
Okay, and I'm going to open this file. Now I'm gonna go back to my Blender and I'm going to go here to bridge, plasticity, connect, lifelink and refresh, and boom, I have my object back.
Maybe disable livelink and then refresh.
And you can see that it came through the inbox, right?
What the fuck kind of hierarchy is that? Untitled plasticity, inbox one. Untitled. What the fuck kind of?
So now if I'm gonna go to edit view, you see that we're gonna have this mess.
Oh.
So you're gonna be wondering like, okay, well, what's the point, right? So watch this. Let's go here to advanced and switch to end-on, and we're going to set this minimum width to 10, and we're gonna refacet this. And now we have literally almost the same kind of a topology as we had for this Blender-based mesh, with the exception of these corners. These corners actually have a bit more topology going on here. I don't think we really need it, but let's bring the original mesh here, right? So let's go here and copy this, right? And bring it in here, and we're going to move it to the right. So this is the original mesh. This is the one that came from Plasticity. So let's apply Control 2 here, and here we're going to drop it to two iterations. And now compare these two meshes, right? They're very different. You may actually notice that first of all,
well, you don't really have matte cap on, so I can't really
this
see.
bump here is much more smooth.
You know what? Fuck this. I'm not learning anything. I'm looking at guy saying something.
Yum, yum.
Floyd here with a quick look at...
Why? Okay, we are going to be doing plasticity, not that shit, not the looking at YouTube videos all day, because that I've done so many times in my days so far, and so I can avoid that. Okay, since I had a lot of trouble with the helix.
Floyd here with a quick look at basic asset creation and plasticity to showcase.
Yeah, I had a lot of problem with this yesterday, so I'm gonna do it again now with a clearer mind.
Let's build this,
because I could not figure this out for the life of me, and so
okay, let's.
Yeah, I need to learn how to do this so that I can use the tools in the future.
Object. Start by creating a cylinder. Select the main face.
Yeah, because I need to do it differently. I need to add a cylinder. And then I need to unwrap face. And then I can object snapping. Okay. There we have that. Now if I do some... Hello? If I just do this, and then I select that face, deform this to that. Okay. No, I need to select these objects, deform, Okay, no,
We'll end
apparently
here with
not.
a quick look at the deform command in Plasticity, which enables you to wrap objects onto surfaces. To use, start by selecting the target face and use the unwrap face command. A template sheet will be generated that you can use as a reference face. Next, select the objects you'd like to deform and use the deform command. Select the reference face, followed by the target face.
Okay. Select.
And use the deform reference face. Next, select the objects
Yeah.
you'd like to deform and use the deform command.
Okay. So this deform.
And select the reference face, followed by the
There and that. Face check fails.
target face. There are several attributes that enable you to adjust the deformation, such as scale and
Okay, so it's... Wait, okay, so maybe it's not me being stupid. It's this that is dumb. Obviously. If I... Yeah. Shift I. Yeah, if I just cut it. No, that did not. Shift I. There we go. Oh, it's in all directions, I guess. Yeah, okay. If I... Wait a minute. Yeah, okay, yeah, because it's cut somehow. If I radial array this around there, then if I use the slot command, maybe. Slot. Curve must be planar. Okay, if I offset... Extrude. Can I...
plasticity. Let's build this simple object. Start by creating a cylinder. Select the main face and use the unwrap face command. Create a rectangle curve, then create an arc curve at each end.
Okay, so...
On offset. So be sure to explore these options to take full advantage of this powerful feature. Oh, look at the time.
What else does he have? Oh, for some reason I thought his... God damn, he's got the luscious hair. Damn. The basics of box folding. Ooh. Oh, it's in a different thing. Oh. Wait, what?
Yum, yum.
This is not
Floyd here
plasticity.
with a quick look at modeling a cartoon ear in Magica CSG. Let's create this simple toon ear. Start by adding a sphere stroke to your character's head. Scale and reposition it to your liking. Then press and hold the shift key while scaling to make a duplicate. Move it into place and change its stroke operation to subtract. Increase the blend value and adjust the inner ear stroke.
Whoa.
Duplicate the stroke and change its stroke operation to union. Scale and reposition it. Tweak the blend values and placement of the strokes to
What?
your liking, and you're all set. Oh,
That is
look at the time.
so freaking what? Yeah, look, it's fellow Norwegian man. Why did he switch over to this program? Goddamn. Cat ears, what? Oh! Ah! He switched a year ago. Yeah, he's not... Damn, his views tanked. Wait, did he get paid or something? By... Wait, what? Playlists. Cinema 4D. Damn, bro knows every program. Wait, what?
Yum yum!
Retopology strategy will differ depending on the level of complexity of your base model and whether it leans more organic or hard surface. For organic 3D scan data, feel free to use Moto's auto retopology script, which is made exactly for stuff like this. If you'd like to art direct or smooth the topology by hand, take a minute to reconsider edge flow. Try to box in your item with large polygons or as low resolution as possible to start off. Build up detail later. This will save you a lot of time. Here's a tip if you're managing edge flow for difficult shapes: encase the entire structure with a single polygon, bevel it, and then delete the interior polygon. I find this method to be quite fast because it usually does not take much time or thought to fill in these islands with quads after a perimeter has been established. Don't bother with any of the fancy tools in the Topology tab. There is one tool that rules them all: the Topology pen. Activate the Topo pen, choose the offset amount in the Tool Properties panel at the bottom left, and then Control and click to drag out a polygon. Left mouse button and click and drag any component, vert, edge, or poly. Shift click to pull out a new polygon from an edge. Shift right click to pull out new polygons along a contiguous set of edges. Shift middle click to add an edge loop that cuts perpendicular to a selected edge. Control click to delete any edge, poly, or vert, but be wary of leftover verts when deleting edges. Control middle mouse button to slide an edge. This is useful for rearranging edge flow with
Oh, what? He's got almost 2,000 videos.
Yum yum!
Okay, let's talk a little bit about materials. In Moto, you're of course using the shader tree. The shader tree is a unique thing in 3D programs. It just gives...
Yum yum!
Greg here from Pixel Fondue. This video is about Celine. It's a new kit from Steve Hill for Moto, and it offers a bunch of new selection tools. So I'm just gonna kind of have to show you what a selection tool is rather than explain it. But as you know, in Moto, like any other program, you just sort of select by either paint selecting, I'm just painting, polygons here, vertices or whatever, or lasso selecting, where I'm just say I can right click and drag and grab whatever vertices without, with the back faces being called, or if I want to go to polygons, just grab, whatever's facing the perspective view here, or I can middle click and just get, everything all the way through the model. Most programs work this way, right? And you also have some really nice statistics.
Yum, yum.
Wait, what? I don't understand. Boom, boom, bim, boom, bow. Boom, 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 bow. Boom, boom. Okay, guide tip to X-nerves.
Yum, yum.
Floyd here with a quick tip when working with X-NURBS guides and plasticity. When working with X-NURBS, you have the option to use guides as internal references. Unlike using guides when lofting, X-NURBS guides don't need to touch the boundary curves that frame the surface. This should offer more freedom when using guides to influence the surface. Take advantage of this powerful flexibility when working with X-NURBS and plasticity. Oh, look at the time.
I was wondering if I should get X-nerves, to be fair.
Yum, yum.
Floyd here with a quick look at using profile curves when lofting and plasticity. To help define the shape when lofting curves, you can use profile curves. In this example, I'll loft these 4 curves and use the oval and rounded rectangle curves as profiles. Take note that the start and end of the 4 curves intersect with the profile curves, as indicated by the blue-green control points. Press L to loft, then select the first profile, and shift select the second profile. Right-click to commit, and I'll follow it up by patching the holes using the patch holes command. Oh, look at the time.
Damn!
Hey everyone, just a super quick video.
No way! Hey guys! What's going on? Quick tutorial here. Oh, I need to piss. Pissing tutorial! Wow! Wait, I don't have... Wait, I've gotten 3 messages. Oi! Okay.
You can connect curves very precisely with the
Wait,
reference image
does he just have the box?
in the 3D view. So I will explain to you in a second what I mean and what my problem was, and it was definitely a little heated discussion here because I was super impatient because people did not understand what I wanted. And but thanks to Bunny Viking, thanks to Oaken, thanks to Nick, and thanks to Kyo, we have now that I want to share with you, like, because it drove me crazy.
Okay, bro got crazy from not... Okay. Create amazing patterns on surfaces and plasticity. Loft versus X nerves. Okay.
I want to show you something absolutely incredible today, and probably you are familiar with the situation that you are modeling a sci-fi concept or hard surface design, and you have created your base form and base shape that you like, for example this simple crate or prop, and now obviously you have to make it like very interesting and unique and cool looking with all of the details. So now you would have to go and create curves and adjust them and start to create all of those details, and it takes so much time, right? And it completely kills your creative flow and momentum, and that's the biggest problem, right? You spend 20% of the time designing and 80% of the time create all of those little technical details and this figgly kind of work, right? And to solve that, I have created something absolutely incredible.
With
So
this
let me
acid
show
pack,
you how
you can buy my acid pack and use all of
and
this.
transform this simple prop into this super highly detailed, really cool looking
Because
prop.
more details equals more better. Always.
And this is now possible with my new 200 plus stamp pack, or like kit bash boolean, where you have over
I mean, it makes sense. It is true that this goes faster than doing everything by
200
hand. But it's
very
like...
unique details that you can use to transform your model. I will show you in a second how to do that, like literally in a few seconds, and it's so much fun and it keeps your creative flow going, and yeah, it's just amazing, and you have so many different details. So let me
The
just
problem with this is that... Or one problem with this, not the problem. One problem with this is that if I were to get this pack and I didn't even know how to make any, I didn't know how to make any of those things myself, I would not learn how to do them. But when I've learned how to do them myself, then I can really benefit from it. But before that, it can be worse because I won't know how to spread them out. I won't necessarily know how to keep it. I don't know.
show you that you have 200 pieces with different categories, so I made it also very easy to you to find exactly what you need. Triangular details like
Yeah. Maybe a modeling time lapse. Well, I don't need the background music. Wait, you can? Can have a mirror? What? Wait, I can group. Wait, add material. Can I only see that in... Yeah, okay, I can only see that in render view. Ugh! Wait, let me guess. Yo, okay, that's pretty cool. I guess anything that I do in the program, from the smallest things of like finding out that I can do whatever this. What? Oh! Add current selection to group.
Ooh.
And then edit. How do. Wait, what did he do? What? Wait, what? What? Wow, bow, bow, When was this made? A month ago. Okay. Create instance. Oh yeah, it's an instance like that. Okay, so if I instance. There you go. Wait, what did he do? Yeah, okay, he did do that. Maybe he did a cube, I guess. Ooh, a cylinder. Bim, bim, bim. Ba-da-dum, ba-dum. Ba-bum, bum. That's cool. Getting so warm with my hair down. Oh. yeah, wait, he does have PureRef open. Okay, hopefully that will help me not overheat. God damn. Oh, bum. Bum. Why is it worth upgrading to substance? Most common mistakes when applying surface details. Oh yeah, it's like the... I've seen something like this before. Oh, I have muted him.
Hey guys, today I want to talk about Boolean kit bash libraries for plasticity.
What?
Hey guys, today I want to talk about Boolean kit bash libraries
Boolean bashi... What?
for plasticity
Wait, I gotta...
and indicate most common mistakes beginners make when using them. Kit bashes are meant to be time savers when deadlines are tight, but we don't want to compensate that with quality. For something to be cool and believable, details are crucial elements, but we often don't have enough time and stamina to make it all from scratch. That's where kit bashes come to help. We can reuse pre-made parts and focus our time where it matters most. At least that's how it's supposed to work in theory. Now let's take a look at some of the most common mistakes artists make when they first start using kit bashes.
Overusing them, not knowing where to place them. And using the wrong ones in the wrong place and things.
Number 1. Applying kit bashes too early during the blockout stage.
That is one.
This is the stage where most of your design decisions are made. The large primary shapes.
Yeah, it's like in sculpting. When you start making the lips before you actually have the head. Or like making the eyes before you have the head.
The relationships between them are what communicate your idea and make the design unique.
Yeah.
At this point, you should be focused on proportions, silhouette, and overall form.
So it's the same as sculpting, I guess.
Not surface details. Adding details too early can limit your ability to refine the design while it's still evolving. The right time to start adding details is when you're happy with your primary shapes and you're done refining them. If you are working on a commercial project, that green light usually comes when the client approves the blockout and wants to see a more refined version. That's when you can start turning those simple blockout shapes into the actual parts. Start turning those simple blockout shapes
that is indeed pretty
into the actual parts they are meant to represent.
But without all of the... If it was just like the car thingy, if you just plop a high poly or high fidelity piston onto a thing, it won't look good because it won't look consistent.
And start gradually adding details, at the same time thinking about the relationships of your parts. Number 2. Relying on complex kit bashes before you've mastered the software.
Yeah.
It can be tempting to use highly detailed kit bash parts to compensate for a lack of modeling experience. But what often happens is that you end up with a very simple design made from basic primitives, covered in complex details of other artists. It's much better to learn the tools first, so you can create those kinds of details yourself when needed.
Yeah.
That gives you the ability to change pre-made parts so it suits your design better. Because you know the basics.
That is also true. You can change.
You can adapt things on the fly and being creative where it really matters. So use kit bashes to save time, not to replace fundamental skills.
Yeah.
Number 3. Fill in every empty space with details. Kit bash libraries often contain hundreds of parts, and it can be tempting to use as many of them as possible. I've been there myself. When I first discovered normal map alphas, I ended up overusing them in many of my older projects. Just because you have a lot of details at your disposal doesn't mean every surface needs them.
Yeah.
Leaving some areas clean helps the important details stand out and give the design room to breathe. A good rule of thumb I always use is to keep roughly 30% of the surface detailed and leave the remaining 70% clean. It doesn't have to be exact, but staying somewhere around that ratio usually creates a much stronger design. It can be applied on multiple levels and in different forms, but the logic stays the same. Number 4. Ignoring scale and cohesiveness when adding details. In Kitbash libraries, the scale is usually unified, so you can browse between parts more easily. But once you add a part to your project, it needs to be adapted to fit the scene. I usually keep small parts like balls aside, so I can reuse them at the same scale across the whole model later. Also, to keep your design cohesive, it's better to limit yourself to a small set of details that are repeated throughout the model. If you use too many different details for the same purpose, the design can start to feel unrealistic and out of place. Number 5. Using random details without purpose. I'm not saying every detail has to make sense, especially in a fictional design. Sci-fi concepts often include plenty of greebles that exist purely for visual appeal. But even then, you can place them thoughtfully so the viewer believes they could serve a purpose and the design could actually be real. If it's a vehicle, you can add details that relate to the human scale, things that could realistically be grabbed, pulled, or interacted with. If the vehicle has an engine that needs airflow, or a crew compartment inside, you can introduce additional iron intake vents and suggest how the vehicle could be assembled by using seams, bolts, hinges, access panels, and other mechanical details. Here are two examples of how the same simple box can be perceived as either an air conditioner or a fictional crate.
Yeah, I thought it was a
Depending
grill, but okay.
On which details you use and how, the perception is changing. But the most important thing is that we can still recognize what it could be. But if you overload the design with random details, it may look complex and futuristic, but we cannot understand what it is. It's clearly something science fictional, but it's difficult to tell what it's actually supposed to be. I hope you found this useful and that it helps you create even cooler designs. Thanks for watching and take care.
Yeah, that was a banger video. Oh. How to work with instances in Plasticity. How to create cubic shapes. 10 slick tools you'll need to try now. Simple prop design. Math news. New math? What? Memory is too expensive, so I made my own. Lithium is dead. This battery doesn't need lithium and it just hit mass production. Yo, it's solid state battery? Maybe, I don't know. Okay, wait.
Hi guys, today I want to talk about instances in Plasticity, a feature that was introduced in one of the recent updates. I'll show you how I create and use instances.
They didn't have it. Oh my god, 7 days ago is like how is 7, 8, 9 or so days ago is when I started.
In my projects.
What?
To work more efficiently and speed up my workflow. To work with instances in Plasticity, you only need to know two commands, which is create instances and realize instances. You can make a shortcut for them if you want. I just added them to my quick favorites here.
Oh! quick favorites. Uh, yeah, I can. Oh, okay. Yo, banger. Create. I didn't see that. Okay, wait. How do I? There. Okay. Okay, it was C. Okay, I was thinking in bed before I started stream, like, which button was it? Was it C or was it A for chamfer? Oh, I'm out of coffee. Yeah. And then D for that. Ooh! Oh yeah, expand selection. How did I... Bum, 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 bum. Ooh. Why? How do I... Oh, I do it like that, I guess. That doesn't... Why doesn't it... Well, I can... Ooh. Nah. Oh yeah. Right, no. Difference. Intersect. Union? No. What? Ooh. Hmm. Oh. Oh yeah, maybe. Oh. Now what is this? Well, it is. It isn't anything. I guess it is just a trying out different tools.
Weird.
Okay, so
Because I don't use them that often, and I will tell you why shortly. Let's create a simple cube.
before I do that, I'm going to want to refill my coffee because I want to, for the simple reason of I want coffee. A little bit more. Might have overfilled it, but
We can make an instance of this cube using mirror tool. Recently a new slider has been added. Make instances.
Oh yeah, mirror tool. I completely forgot that existed. Hello, bruh. Center box. Alt X, X, make instances. B for new body. Actually, take you down to that. Then we can union. If I then select you, then I can cut you, and then this, there. Okay. Okay, if I do something like that, what if I oh yeah, okay. If I now make a cylinder that's this big, then I can, well, I guess I can change the scale. Hmm. Oh, I can, yeah. Okay, I added these too quickly or too early, I think. Per chance. It is pretty cool that I can just kind of remove. Yeah. Being able to remove the bevels afterwards, that is so nice. Yeah, just removing the cuts. Ooh! That's funky. Well, it looks a little funky with the whatever and stuff. Ooh. Hmm. Okay, if I make a little line go kind of like that, and then I guess I need to also close it. Then I can extrude it over there. And then I can select this, union, chamfer angle. I don't know. Maybe I could before I no, this, and then a cutter. Keep tool. And then I can hide you. Because then I could... Then I can unhide you. I mean, I could do this when I've... like, ooh, wait, yeah, no, I can... Oh, variable point. Oh, yeah. Hmm. No. No. There we go. Or I could keep you as a separate thing, and I could... No, I could... No, I could Alt-X. X... I... So now you will also be an instance. Nice. Okay. Now if I redo the cylinder thingy to, let's say, there. Then we can do that. Then we can add a little bevel here, or we could remove these so that we get more even bevels. No. Wait, can I make sep? Wait, can I can parent you, right? No, that's pipe. Parent. Wait. Parenting in Plasticity. Oh! Really? Okay, so if I do that, now how do I...
So now that we have that out of the way, let's talk about plasticity in general and how to get you started. So plasticity in general,
it's an hour
when you
long.
first open it up, you're going to have a cube in the middle of the screen. Now I'm going to be using the speaker model. Hey everyone, this is Matt with Learn Everything About Design, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a quick start video for those of you that have experience in another CAD program and are just getting started with plasticity. Now, if you're an absolute beginner and you don't know where to start, we're going to be releasing another video for that as well. And we've done content like this before where we've talked about the UI and the workflow and plenty of other videos and playlists, but we haven't done any with the current version 24.2.x. So we're just going to go ahead and refresh the content a bit. So in this video, if you're familiar with Blender or Maya 3D Studio, or if you're coming from a CAD program like Fusion or SolidWorks or Inventor, then this is the video for you, because we're going to try to talk about SolidWorks. We're just going to go ahead and refresh the content a bit. So in this video, if you're familiar with Blender or Maya 3D Studio, or if you're coming from a CAD program like Fusion or SolidWorks or Inventor, then this is the video for you, because we're going to try to talk about setting it up and the differences in workflow so you understand how plasticity works. If you, again, are brand new, no experience at all, I would wait for the longer form video where we'll talk more about the UI and the way that things work, and we'll go through some examples and practices. This is not going to be that video. Hopefully it'll be about 15 to 20 minutes. We'll try to pack as much in as we can. So first things first, if you've just downloaded a trial, make sure you go to your preferences, set your navigation to whatever navigation you prefer. I'm going to be talking about plasticity defaults here, but if you're coming from Blender and you're just used to holding down Shift in the middle mouse and pan, then set it to Blender so you're comfortable. If you want to set your appearance colors, anything different, go for it. Just a word of caution, if you try to make it a light theme background, a lot of stuff is going to get washed out. It really does not play well with a white background because the icons and things are just, they need to have a darker background. So I'm going to be sticking with basically the default, but you can play around with that. And last thing to really set and check is your units. I prefer to use the metric unit system, millimeters, even though I'm in the US. Generally...
Oh, that's where... Wait, what? Where? Grid... What? Why would they remove... Well, I guess grid is there. There! That's where! Oh my god, I see now! Ah! Centimeters. Mass gram. Ah! Yeah, because in Blender I model... Or my stuff is in the centimeter realm because of the rendering and stuff. But yeah, I was unsure of that. Okay, what if I do something crazy, absolutely bonkers? What if I take this and just do this, and then I boom, ba, whoa, bo, boom, boom. Oh, yeah.
Because if I'm designing something for 3D printing, I want to have a rough idea of my build volume or my build plate size. And if I'm doing things like a concept car like we did our series on, I'll generally go to the inch unit system just because it's easier for things like tire size and wheelbase for me, just based on the way that I work. But make sure that you look at least that once you get started modeling. It's not going to matter for this video, but it is important in general. So now that we've got that out of the way, If you're looking to purchase, remember that we are an affiliate. You can use the code LEAD10 at checkout, and that'll save you 10%, and it does help out the channel. So if you are looking to purchase and you find the content helpful, make sure that you do use that code LEAD10.
$4.
So when you are first in Plasticity, first thing I want you to do is get comfortable moving that cube around, that default cube. So if you're using the Plasticity defaults, that's middle mouse, pressing that down will let you rotate. The mouse wheel will let you zoom in and out. And the right mouse button is going to be pan. It's also going to be confirm. It works just like the enter key. So that, again, is my preference here whenever I jump between. Hey everyone, this is Matt with Learn Everything About Design. And in today's video, we are going to cover Plasticity 2026.1. So we finally got the release for this year. I'm happy to say that the UI looks pretty much the same as it did in 2025, which means that any of the videos that we have from 25 are going to look and feel the same. There are, of course, new tools. There are plenty of improvements. Some shortcut keys may not work exactly the same, but hopefully in this video we can cover a lot of that. If you haven't seen our What's New content before, we're going to try to cover as much as we can. I'll put chapters in the bottom of the video so you can jump ahead, but I'll leave a link in the description of the video so you can jump to the Plasticity website that covers it all. Also keep in mind we are an affiliate, so if you are looking to purchase and you want to support the channel, you can use our code LEAD10. That'll save you 10%. It also does help us out. So the first tool or the first new feature that we have is something called poly splines. There are several cool things that we can do with this. This is going to need its own video, but the two big things to note are, one, this is a studio-only tool. So this is a new technology, kind of like Xherbs that Plasticity has licensed, which means that it's only available in the studio license. So if you're wondering, Indie or Studio, Studio has a lot of tools like Xherbs. It's got some different CAD conversion tools for imports and exports. So there are various things that Studio only does bring to the table. I would suggest taking a good look at everything it can do if you're trying to make that decision, or ask questions in the video. So what does this polyspline tool do? Well, basically it's a sub-D converter, and it also opens up some other modeling functionality. Again, we'll have to cover in its own video. But the first thing is, if you bring in a quad mesh like an OBJ or an FBX, we can convert that directly to, in this case, a NURBS surface. And what this means is we now have the ability to just model directly on this. If you want to, you can grab these faces. I'm going to go ahead and just switch to face selection. You can grab these faces and pull them out and make geometry changes. We can also do things like, let's go ahead and let's add a line here. And then I'm going to turn that into a slot, which is another new feature, which we'll talk about in just a little bit. And then I want to extrude that. All right, so my curves, I'm going to get rid of the line. And then I'm going to take this slot and just extrude it. I'll pull it this way, hit S, hit W, get rid of it from that. And you can see that we were able to just basically cut straight through it. So bringing in a quad mesh and having the ability to not only manipulate it with standard tools, but also do things like adjust the shape and kind of work back and forth. So that on its face is a really helpful tool. There will be limitations. You can't use it on an STL. So if you have a triangular mesh, it's not going to work. It does need a quad mesh, but the results are going to be G2 continuous. So a really nice output. But the other thing that this opens up, which is really cool, is the ability to use the Blender bridge in two directions. And so to look at that, let's go ahead and take a look at Blender and Plasticity together. So let's close the outliner and make it a little bit easier to see. So when we're looking at this, when we open up the Blender bridge, I'm going to go ahead and delete the cube in here. When we open up the Blender bridge, we can create a live link and refresh it so we bring our object directly in. You might be thinking that just looks like the Blender cube. The cool thing here is that we can make modifications directly inside of Plasticity, and we've covered this tool before. And those modifications are going to be live updated inside of Blender. So this functionality already exists. I don't believe it's Studio only. I'm not 100% sure on that. But the thing that I know is Studio only is going the other direction, going from Blender to Plasticity. So I'm going to disable the live link because there are some problems that this will bring up. I'm going to start a new design, just a general design, and I'm going to modify this cube. So I'm just going to extrude some stuff up. Let's go ahead and bring this out, maybe bring this out, and just make some sort of shape. Now, one of the keys to making this work, this might help if I show the whole thing, is actually adding a subdivision surface modifier. It does not work for my testing unless you have a subdiv modifier on here. The other thing that has to happen to make this work is inside of the Blender bridge, we're going to set this to only visible and refresh. And notice over here that we've got now an outbox and an inbox. Inbox is going to be a design coming from Plasticity into Blender. Outbox, which we'll drag this into, is going to be a design going from Blender to Plasticity the other way. So when we hit refresh, we now have our object directly here in Plasticity. We can still modify it in Blender. So for example, let's go ahead and pull this up, maybe add an extrude, maybe scale it out, and then we'll go ahead and refresh it, and now it's changed over here in Plasticity. There are going to be some best practices. I'm going to play around with this a bit more. Right now, it seems like you really just want one object in Blender and nothing in Plasticity, or one object in Plasticity and nothing in Blender. Of course, you can select what you want to take with you, but that seems to be the best thing. There are tools where we can do things like refacet, automark edges. Those are all things we've covered in previous videos, and there are tools like Peter at Take Refuge 3D has an end-on tool that you can use to kind of help prep your models. But that's the basis of this. We can now use it not only to convert meshes that we bring in, again, they have to be quad mesh, FBX and OBJ, but we can also use it to bring files directly from Blender. So super cool add-in. There's more to that tool that we're going to have to get into in its own video, but just the core functionality of converting the mesh to a NURBS or converting a Blender file to something directly in Plasticity with that sort of refresh and live link. Both of those are, again, really cool features in Studio only. The next thing that we want to talk about, let's go ahead, while I'm here, I'm just going to create a new set of curves. So let's create a circle, let's create some lines. I'm just going to draw some lines and go through here. This change is a little bit harder, at least for me to see, but now when we have curves that cross over and they're in the same construction plane, they will have a white dot on them. And so it's kind of hard to see. If I move this one here in Z and move it up,
oh yeah,
look at it from the top,
This line here doesn't have any white dots where it crosses other curves. The other ones do. This is also true when it's in the corner, so we've got the purple sort of vertex dot, and then we've got the white dot where it crosses over. When you go into the preferences, you can modify the size of the vertices and control points and things like that. I have not found a way to increase the size of that white dot. That would be really helpful if we can make that more than a pixel or whatever it is. But again, that's just a nice visual indicator that helps you see, okay, well, this curve isn't even on the same plane. There are some other additions that we'll talk about later, like the patch tool, for example, now has the ability to make use of multiple sections, so we can patch just that instead of a complete closed profile that we needed. And so those are, again, new additions that could be pretty helpful. While we're in this sketch, let's also go ahead and talk about that slot tool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this. Let's go move this around. The slot tool is something where you need to have a seed or basically a starting point. And when you select it, you can invoke the slot command. And what this allows us to do is take polylines like these lines. We can even do it with a circle. Let's go ahead and do that. And you can use things like complex curves like splines, and we can convert those to slots as well. And so this is a really nice addition. It's not a standard curve tool that you'll find over in this sort of toolbar on the left-hand side, but you do have the ability to take these basic polylines or complex curves and turn them into slot geometry. Now, obviously, there are certain cases where this makes a lot of sense, things like creating vents or features on the outside of cosmetic models, but you can also use it for mechanical parts as well, dictating the location of, let's say, hardware that needs to slide through a slot. So that's a pretty nice addition. Some other changes that have happened, let's go ahead, I'm going to open this file here. Some other changes that have happened have to do with things like 2D curve snapping. So this is one that is probably a pretty big enhancement, even though it seems minor, and we'll talk about this in this case. So if you're using the default construction planes, things like top, front, right, left, whenever you start to create a curve, if you snap to geometry that's not in that plane, so you'll notice I snapped to the top of the hardware and I kind of came down here, it's going to be located at that first snap point. Now, if we go to that top plane and I enable 2D snapping, and I do the same thing again, I'll just snap over here, come to the bottom, maybe come to the top over here. What's going to happen now is that is going to stay on our construction plane. And so you can see that even though I snapped to the top of that little bolt, it stayed at the top plane. And so this is a nice feature. This is how it behaves when you create custom construction planes. And now we have the ability to do that on all planes by forcing it. All right, for the next example, I'm going to go ahead and open up another file. Now what I want to talk about is some changes that have happened to the outliner. And so for this, I'm going to make a duplicate. And then over here, I'm going to create a group from the selected item, and I'll do the same thing here. Now, there are shortcuts you can do, Control-G or hit that button up there. But essentially what's happened now is we have the ability to activate groups. And so this is important because if we start to create geometry, let's say a cylinder, by default, it would just be in the solid section of the outliner. Now we have the ability to activate a group, which means that if I create new geometry, it's going to go into the active group. So as you're creating big complex models, as you want to start keeping features and designs grouped together, being able to activate a group, activate the top level scene or any of these subgroups, that gives you the ability to control and dictate the function and the structure of it without having to do it after the fact, like by grouping stuff together after you model or dragging it into a group. So this is a really nice addition. This is something that's going to improve a lot of workflows. Another addition that happened is inside of materials, the very bottom, we now have the ability to add a density. And the reason this is important is because the bottom on the right-hand side, we now have the mass of our object. And so you can see here, this is 39,000 grams in ABS plastic, essentially is 1.07. If I click on the one that I didn't apply a mass to or density to, you can see that it's not listed there. So that information, not just the color or the appearance of it, but also the ability to dictate the density can really help if you're creating designs you plan to physically make. If you want to see how heavy the final object is going to be in plastic or metal or wood or whatever the case might be. And so that's a nice addition. That's something that's, seemingly minor, but will make a big difference for a lot of people. In addition to that, we now have the ability to copy with materials. And so what this means is if I copy this solid and I start a new design and I paste it in here, let's go ahead and zoom fit. That is going to bring that material with me. And so you can see the density is there. If I go into render mode, you can see it's shown as red. And so that ability to do that helps with things like kit bashing. So if you're creating a lot of parts that are going to be used in various files, now you can apply all the materials to them and you don't have to redo that when you bring it into the final design. So very nice addition to just the general properties in the outliner, being able to bring those over. We also have a search in here. I'm going to go back to the other file for this. But inside of here, you have the ability to search. You can use a shortcut key, Control and F, and you can begin typing what you're looking for. And so this is nice because sometimes when all these folders and groups are closed, it can be hard to find something. Sometimes as your designs get really big, then it becomes really hard to find stuff. And so in this case, if I'm looking for that front image, I can quickly find it and I can show it. And that's easy to do using, again, Control and F, which is the same thing that you use, use Shift and F out here or F, and then it's Control and F to search the outliner. The cool thing is a lot of times these commands only work when you're hovering over the outliner, but Control and F invokes the search command no matter where your cursor is. So that's a nice addition. While I'm on this model, also I want to talk about another new tool called Export Hidden Line. This gives us the ability to create essentially a drawing. Now it's not a detailed drawing, there are not a bunch of dimensions on it, but we can control things like shaded background or using colors or the specific views that we want. Like let's say that we just wanted to have a right view. And this can be used for things like, let's say that you want to do appearances for UV unwrapping, or maybe you want to take this and you want to use it for some art. You want to do some coloring and shading in a 2D art program, or whatever the case might be. We can now export these. Keep in mind, it will go into the folder location of your plasticity file. It will also share that name. If you happen to not have a plasticity file saved, then it will prompt you for that save location. Not a big deal, but just something to keep in mind. Generally, we would have a file saved anyways. All right, so now that we've talked about all the new features, let's take a moment to talk about some of the improved and enhanced features. Now, again, I'll put a link to the Plasticity website where you can see all of the changes. We're just going to cover a few here. The first thing I want to cover is the curve array. Now, the curve array, we have a third option called transport. Now, normal and transport in some instances might look the same depending on the curve you're dealing with. If you have a curve in 3D like this one, then what you'll notice is the parallel option obviously will keep the object in the same orientation. Normal is going to be sort of rotating and skewing with the 3D curve. And the transport option actually gives you a better result in those cases because it uses a stable frame around the object that follows the curve and prevents twisting or flipping. So again, normal, you can see that the object is actually flipping around the curve, where the transport option gives you a little bit more of a stable result, which you would probably expect using that input. So again, that is not a new feature, but the transport alignment option is new for 2026. The next thing that we want to talk about is the align command. Now, we've done a video on this with align and surfaces, but in 2026, it now supports curves. And there are a couple ways that we could use this. One cool feature is that it actually knows where you're selecting. So for example, if I want to connect these two curves together and I accidentally select the curve on this side, when I go to use the align command, it thinks that I'm using this side based on my selection. So you can make sure that you select close to the edges you want, and then when you use the align command, you've got G0, G1, G2, and G3 continuity. We also have the widgets on the screen, these little yellow areas that we can move, and when we go to G2 continuity, you can see we've got our second one here, and G3, we got a third. Now, obviously, as you move around, what's going to end up happening, depending on the constraints around the rest of the curve, you're going to start to see that one end move. Very similar to how it works when we're dealing with surfaces, except for we don't have the control over like the degree and span that we do on a surface because we're dealing with just these control points. This also works on straight lines, which will only have G1 continuity, and it also will work on things like arcs and circles. And what's kind of neat about this one is you can use the parameter here to move around the position. All circles will have a start endpoint, so that will be the 0 and the 1, depending on which direction you're coming from. This is not a replacement for a constraint system. It is not persistent, meaning if we try to take this curve and this one here and we align them, and we do G1, that is not persistent in the fact that we can still move this line around. We can rotate it, we can make changes, but it is a good temporary solution. And by temporary, I mean you can apply these sort of constraints on the fly as needed, but just keep in mind that as you move things around, as you move control points, it's not going to maintain the G1, G2, or G3 continuity. The next thing that I want to talk about is going to be instance support, and specifically the place command. Now, we haven't really talked about instances on this channel, but I'm going to go ahead and create an instance. And if you don't know what this is, it's essentially a copy, but it's not treated like a true solid or brep. But it does maintain a link back to the original, so you can see I'm making changes to the original. If I move faces around or make adjustments, add fillets, things like that, it will all keep true with the instance. There are some other updates that have happened with things like the move gizmo. So by default, this transform instance inversely will be off, and that means that the instance will move with you. You can turn it on and move it independently. And also notice that we now are seeing the red, green, and that means that the instance will move with things like the move gizmo. So by default, this transform instance inversely will be off, and that means that the instance will move with you. You can turn it on and move it independently. And also notice that we now are seeing the red, green, and blue sort of checks or marks next to X, Y, and Z to help you better identify which direction you're moving relative to the gizmo on the screen. But the main thing I want to talk about here is going to be that place command. Now, there are shortcuts for them, of course, but you can type place, click this, and what we're doing essentially is picking a location, a snap location, and then we're placing it on some other object. In this case, we can flip this around.
Wait,
now, what we're doing essentially is picking a location. Talk about here is going to be that place command. Now, there are shortcuts for them, of course, but you can type place, click this, and what we're doing essentially is picking a location, a snap location, and then we're placing it on some other object. In this case, we can flip this around. Now, there are a couple new additions to this command. One is the ability for this to create instances instead of copying solid bodies. So if I were to place this here, what I have is a second copy of a solid of that. If instead, let's go ahead and hit I on the keyboard to toggle instances, what I'm doing now is I'm placing instances in those locations, which means they're going to maintain a link back to the original. Now, the reason that this is nice is because if I move the original and I turn off this, you can see that it's going to move all these objects around. Also, if I make changes to the original object, you can see that it's going to make changes to all those instances. So this is a really nice way for you to create a single version of a part, like a bolt or hardware, and place it around other objects while maintaining the ability to simply modify or edit that original. Even if this isn't used anywhere and it's just off to the side and hidden and not selectable or something like that, then you still have the ability to create all of these various instances. Now, instance support, and specifically with this command, the place command, it supports the placement of instances, whether they're pre-created or created with the tool. Also, you can use this tool on mesh bodies as well. Other tools like the mirror also support the creation of instances as opposed to copies of the solid body. So these are all nice additions and changes that can make working with patterned components or multiple instances of a body like this much easier, especially if you decide that you want to go back and make changes and things like that. Then all of those placed instances, which word is starting to lose a little bit of meaning, but all of them will follow the design changes that you make on the original. So one other thing to note is as we move between different files, in the past, the dialog would say something like, you sure you want to clear the scene? Now it actually tells you if you have unsaved changes. Now the unsaved changes are denoted by the little white dot next to the file name. And so this can tell you like, hey, you sure you want to open a new file and not save what you did? And you can say yes, which you'll lose your stuff, or you can say no, go back and save it before you close. The next thing that I do want to talk about is the gizmo. In this case, I'll go back to move and note that the options inside of here for tab, historically, tab has done a few different things in different tools. So depending on where you were, if you were in extrude, tab used to make the extrude symmetric from the midline. Now the S key will do that, but tab is moving universally for dimension input. So if I hit tab, notice it's going between X, Y, and Z. And even though the 0 isn't highlighted, I can start to type in 25, I can type in 25, and I can kind of move through that. That sort of enhancement, or for the way the tab works, is being changed globally for a lot of these gizmos, so scale, rotate, move, to be more in line with how it works in other features. So for example, if I were to create...
I didn't even know there was a tab. Wait. Oh. It's huge.
A curve down here, and I wanted to extrude that. If I hit tab, it goes to the numerical entry. So I can hit 25, I can hit 2 degrees, and go back to this.
Oh, yeah, that's the same as with the line thingy when I was doing the line thingy. What? Wait, if I come in here, if I... Oh. Oh, yeah, okay, I don't have to press that. Okay. No, wait, if I do this... Whoa. Oh, yeah, I need to... Oh, that's how I do it. Huh. Bow, bow, bippity, bow. Hmm. A little worm. Ooh. How do I... Oh, that's how. I don't need you then. No. Loft. Loft. Yeah, that one can have that. Loft. Okay, I need to... Ah, I see. Maybe. Or Shift J. No. Loft. I don't... Okay. What happens if I... What? Why do you not want to... Oh, wait a minute. If I... Okay, well, I don't know what this is. I'm gonna hide. Oh yeah, because I have to union. Is that why I couldn't do that part? Because they're separate sheets. Because they're sheets. All of them are sheets. What the shit, man? Okay. Group. Bing, ba ba boom, boom, bing, 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 bang, bang, bing, bang, bong, bong, bing, bang, bong, bing, bang, bing, bang, bong. Oh, that's you. Okay. Bing, bang, bong, bong, bing, bang, bang, bang. Bing, bong, bong. Okay, I'm gonna go back to meters because it doesn't matter today. I guess. Okay, if I hide that, if I start making some kind of circle and then I start making circles in the circle, why is it? What did I? I mean, I could try something with. Whoa! How dare you be late again? Hopefully, I will be doing stuff. Ooh, maybe like a revolver. Whoa. Wow, we got revolving barrel. Also, welcome to the stream. Okay, if I... Thank you indeed. You are welcomes. Okay, if I make these, but like, wait, how many? Yeah, 6. So then like 12. Then I can offset. I am getting indeed. What? Oh, I don't need. I can just kind of do that differently instead. I can just radial array them from there. Yeah, I am getting stuff more and more. I am understanding more and more things, it feels. Oh, I need to do this and then radial array. And then 6. Then I can... Oh, I didn't even... Sure. If I now array you there. can do that, and then I can... What? Who are you? Okay, you, and then... There we go. What? We have done it now. We've made a revolve. Did you know you can also use a radial array to cut out its side? I can? Oh! Yo! What the fuck? Okay, that is... Okay, now... Oh my god, I could then do that with all of these. What? Okay. Hold on. What? Okay, that is based. I've mostly been... it's so cool, man. I fucking love... Yeah! I'm having like the stuff, like the eureka moments that I had when I got into Blender and actually started doing stuff. Because in the beginning of me learning Blender, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. It took me quite a while to just get anything, like any progress to my learning stuff. And it wasn't until I got my job that I really like kicked off my speed and stuff. What if we make little holes like that instead, and then we can make one big hole? Then it's like a gear. Ooh, then I can... Ooh! But if I make you flatter, maybe I can... That's not what I wanted. If I... Wait, can I offset? No. Well, not in the way that I wanted. If I... No, I just want to do that, I guess. And then... Yeah! And then I guess I could... Could I just kind of... No. Oh, sphere. I'm gonna try something with the sphere. Nope, that's... Did I do it? Yeah, I did. Oh, Oh, wait a minute. What if I do the sphere? A radial array. And then 6. They may mutually intersect. Yeah, well, that's kind of what I wanted. Oh, because I have those already, maybe. Yeah, it was. Now, if I do that, no, I wanna... Huh. What if I do it on down here? Oh, maybe I'm going to... What? Okay. Okay. What if we add a little pipe? If we delete that, and then we can... I can do something like that, maybe. Okay, what am I... Okay, if we make a sphere at the end, then we can join those together, and then we can radial array them, and then we have this funky pattern. Then I can okay, what can I do with you? Ooh, Wiener. Okay, so if I... Oh. True! That is true. But how do I... Wait, yeah, because I can then right-click. Wait, I'm just gonna test something. Because I remember... No. How do I remember there being some right click, no, left click. Because if I drag it too far. Wait, I do the full option on the fillet, or just shift click the outside of the cylinder. Oh! Why didn't that work several... Wait, okay. Oh, I have to do it twice. I have to... Yeah. I see. Okay. That is actually quite nice. Okay, if I now fillet those, then radial array. Do I have like a billion of them? Okay. Wait, yeah, go first, then do the matching with shift. Ah, okay. Okay. Oh, if I do a cut into it. If I do like that. Yeah, no, if I do that, then I can now delete. Can I array them as... Hello? Oh, I need to select... Oh yeah, I can make them instances! Did I make them instances? No. Instances. Yeah! Nice! Okay, if I now make this go like that, then we have a little thingy thing, whatever that is. It's like someone going like... Okay, if we do this and then all of these as the cutter objects, I guess they... Okay, I need to realize the instances. Realize instances. Add to favorites. Yeah, I just learned about the favorites thingy. I was like, oh, there is no favorites. There is no like making shortcuts and stuff. And then I found out, but that was a few days ago. But the favorites, the quick favorites, has been today. Whoa. Well, it's not... The thing in Blender is that it's Q. Yeah, the shortcut, the being able to do the shortcut is so nice. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that instead. Just connect them. It's gonna make it sleeker, maybe. Okay, what if I... Wait, where's the corner of the hole? I guess... Oh, yeah, no, I need the 3 point. Oh, I need to maybe remove all of these. But what? Oh! Did I just learn something though? Yo! Oh, that is so banger. What? Usually that's in using Alt in Blender. What? That is bonkers. Yeah, I was very, very curious about where that feature was. I was like, oh, there must be a feature like that. Must be. Okay, since... Well, I can just kind of... do that. I could have done the S for whatever. But oh well. I can array you around the Z-axis, and then I can use you as a cutter. Ooh, cutters, yeah. Okay, so what is this? That's kind of something to ponder. Whoa. Wait, what if we... Okay. What happens if I... Wait, okay, hold on. What happens if I loft Shift J? J. No. Nothing. Ugh. Okay, I think this model is too complex now, so I'm gonna start something fresh. Okay, starting with a sphere, I guess. I was going to go for a circle, but okay. Let us get a center box. And then we do a boolean through the whole thing. Oh, it's the inside edges. Okay, if we... No. Corner box. Okay, what can we do with that? No. Whoa. Okay. We got something here. What if we make... Nah, let's make something like that. Then let's make a cylindrical hole through this entire thing. Okay. And then we can do that. And then we have fillets inside. Ooh, we're gonna have like salmon fillet today. That's gonna be nice. Oven baked or oven grilled salmon, which is very, very nice with MSG. Oh, it's so tasty. Oh, I'm gonna get hungry now. Thanks, me. You're welcome. I want these to be even. Steven! Let's make the holes a lot smaller. Now let's remove the bevel so I can do it again. This time it will be yeah, let's remove this bevel as well so I can do it evenly. Nice. Okay. Okay, what is this? I mean, it could be some form of a... Why can't I... No. Oh, is it because I'm... That's why. Then, new body. Okay, it can be like a hinge, but then it would maybe need like a... How do I... Okay, I guess I can... What? How do I move this? How do I slide an egg? Wait, okay, so then I need to have two. Oh no, I don't need two. Yeah, okay. No. Okay, if I now do that, X this side. And then if I do something like that, then I again do that. True. True that, true. Could have done the... How do I slice so I can see? Or at least... Is it still... Oh, I can see! Ah! True. Okay, okay. Yeah. Ooh, okay. Nice. Okay. Now, what do I want this to be? Maybe it could be like a joint in like a character, like a robot character thingy. So if I do that, then I can wait. If I ooh. Wait, okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, because it was still there. Okay. I don't know anymore. Let's pepper it in details, meaningless details. Wait, yeah, what if I do something like this and then I guess I need to do that. There we go. Ooh, I could also do this, right? Oh, maybe because of this. Or is it because of those, maybe? No! It was because of the bevels. Ooh! Oh yeah, that looks interesting. Wait. C angle. I mean, that could be an interesting little detail. What if I do that? Then it can be kind of like a something. Whoa. Now if I move that, oh, we have a lot of duplicates, I see. Yeah. Well, I guess it wouldn't make sense to have it kind of angled. Oh, I need to... I don't like the inconsistency of like some things you have to click first and then do the changing, but this one you have to do not that. No, oh. There we go. And then we can do, what is this, corner box, 3-point box maybe. Nah, let's do a center box. And then B for new body. Oh, yeah. I guess I could add little slits up there for that stuff. No, I need to be in face select for it to be solid. Gah. Okay. Oh, I can't do... Wait, can I... No. Oh. Alright. Ba-bum, bum, ba-bum. Is there a way to change? Because I found out there was no parenting in Plasticity, which kind of sucks for certain things. But oh well. But is there a way to like change the pivot point for like forever? Like change this thing's pivot point somewhere and then yeah, but like it's changed the thing and then I have to reset it every time. Like it doesn't stay. Is there a way to like set the origin of this to be in the joint? Or is that not possible? Yeah, but it doesn't stay there. It reverts back. What? Wait, hold on. Okay, now I've set it there, right? And then it goes back. Why? Also, why is it... World. Yeah. That's not world. Oh yeah, it is. Never mind. Are you setting the pivot point in the rotate tool or in the move tool? Well, I can try in this tool. Both. I've tried it in both. Persistent pivot point in plasticity. Yeah, but when I click it off, then it stops being there. Why do I still get announcements from this channel? Nothing. Suppress everyone in here. Mark red. Nice. To permanently or consistently change the pivot point in Plasticity, you can leverage the semi-permanent pivot functionality or using bounding box active and median snapping modes These options ensure objects transform exactly where you need them to across multiple commands. What? Oh! So I need the studio license for that. Yeah, yikes. Okay, this is 2 years ago. It might also just be Google AI being whack. Are you sure that persistent pivot points are only studio license? Ah, you're entirely, and I appreciate you calling it out. To be absolutely precise, the persistent pivot feature itself is not a studio exclusive restriction. The confusion stems from when the feature was first introduced. The functionality to permanently change an object's pivot point, where pressing V to adjust the pivot point stays saved with the object rather than resetting after the command, was originally rolled out during a studio beta testing cycle. Once those updates moved into the stable public builds available in and forward, the underlying pivot persistence and advanced alignment features became available across both the indie. Okay, I have the indie and the studio tiers. The core licensing restrictions between indie and studio are strictly tied to seat count, company revenue limits, Xnerves access, and advanced class A surfacing shaders, not basic object level transfer. I zoned out after this part. I don't know what I read. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's... Are you triple sure? I was wrong to definitely state that it rolled out across both tiers. Oh my god, it's so dumb. Bro, okay, I am not triple sure. Because the pivot persistence function remains time. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. It's like, yeah, it is only in studio, and then oh no, like as soon as I question it, it's like, no, actually it's not just in there. And then I'm like, what? And then it's like, oh, sorry, you meant like that. Oh yeah, no, it does actually only exist. Oh, I have like a few days left before I can, because I know that there is the, what's it called? A plasticity upgrade from indie to studio. I was looking at it and being like, ooh, maybe I should upgrade, but I don't know. Oh yeah, no, look, okay, individual for one person only, commercial use allowed. All essential 3D modeling tools plus professional and expert level solid and surfacing tools. Poly splines, continuous mesh to NURBS, all versions up to access to the beta program for 12 months, help shape the direction of new features. Xnerves, Blender Bridge. I don't know how much I'm gonna need these features, but the annoyance of not being able to like whip 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 in like a hinge, that is, ugh. And then not being able to parent stuff, that's annoying as well. Like, I could parent this in Blender, and then I could set the origin to be there, and then I could be like, ooh, I'm gonna do boop boop boop. And then now I can't. You say this program is good? How dare you? This program is clearly cringe and unbased. Okay, if I Control 2 bevel this. Oh, then I need to. Okay, I can breed. Wait, no. Wait, what? Like, I have to. Yeah, no, it doesn't. It don't save. Oh! Why is this program so shit? I don't know. Bada beep. Yeah. Cringe program. I thought this program was worth my time and money. Nah, it is pretty good, even though that sucks. But you know, oh, oh no. Yeah, just doing that would suck in Blender. Like, even this, oh, it would suck so hard in Blender. Maybe I should do this and then delete redundant detergent. Delete the detergent, guys. Okay, now if I yeah. Like, that's such a, I don't know, I feel like that should be like a very basic feature. Like, I do that all the time in Blender. I don't know why it should be limited to very expensive. Well, it depends. It's not expensive compared to like the 3ds Max or whatever, but goddamn. Okay, I want to rotate this so it's, wait, yeah, what is the, oh yeah, it is, oh my god. Okay, rotate, no, rotate V, center origin 90. There, now it will hopefully behave the way I want it to behave, with like the X and Y. Yeah, nice. how would this come together? It would probably screw on if I... Does it have a back face? No. How do I Oh yeah, one thing. How do I separate something? Like, how do I separate this mesh? Like, how do I make this body? No. Keep tool. No. Oh wait, no. I know. Shift there. That can go in there. And then we can have a screw thingy. That... Well, I guess we could have this a little further in, and then an even bigger, just to make it yeah. Then we can make this smaller, and then we can okay, if I... No. Damn, okay. Oh. Whoa. What? Oh yeah, that was the... Ah. Okay, is there any... Well, oh, no, I need that. Bum ba 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 bum bum ba ba bum bum bum. Oh. What? Oh. Okay. And then is there a way to like unhide without unhiding everything? Like in Blender you can isolate. Is that what that is? No, that's just... How do I isolate? Oh! My yeah, how do I... Because I can do this, but like how do I make it so it doesn't... That's... Period! Ah! Okay, I want to have that... Wait, do I still have this connected to my... No, okay. So then I can map that to... Wait, I got a message. Oh. Wait. There. Yeah. Okay, so if I isolate, add... Oh yeah, that's true. I can't use mouse buttons. Okay. No, that's... Okay, if I... Logitech... No, that's not the one. G-Hub. Okay. I think so. Oh, that's gonna be scary. Home. Do I have plasticity there? Where is plasticity? There we go. Plasticity. Details. Oh no! No! Why? Why? How do I? Standard. Oh, the mouse settings were trash. Jag ska lösa henne. Okay, wait, where are my fingers? Where are your fingers? It's very nice that I can see what I'm like highlighting without having to unhide it first. Okay, some form of something. Wait, how does it connect? Okay, so it's screwed on. Do I need... this to have... Oh, that could be interesting if I do something like... new body. And then I draw a 3-point thingy there. And then boom, boom. Oh, I'm in. Wait, what? No, I'm. Oh. Because then this thing can come out. So. There we go. And then I could maybe do something like this, where this goes in, and then a screw mounts onto that, and also onto here. And then it goes in. Yeah, then it can hinge without maybe I could have a... Ooh, if I have a... Wait, hold on. If I have you to there, so that it doesn't collide with that. Okay, I need to do that first. However, I will have to go for now, because I am out of time for today. I'm just gonna... Wait, do you... Okay. There. Yeah! That is fine though, because tomorrow I am not gonna stream, definitely. Yeah, well, the pivot things, I've tried it. Maybe it's like I need to restart the thing and stuff. Need to restart things and things. But I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure that out at some point. I'm just gonna take some pictures and then upload them to the YouTubes. Wait, I can... There. No, not the YouTubes. What am I saying? And then I can show the different things that I have done today. Wait, no. Did I delete now? Where am I? Oh, there I am. Oh, it's hidden. Some little goofy gaffs. Yep, learned some stuff, maybe. Hopefully. So now I can save this as Plasticity 8. It is day 8. Yeah, it's day 8. My naming convention is incredible. Okay. Oh, my ear itchy for real. Now I will go. I'm not gonna bother with raiding today because I don't feel like doing that. So goodbye, and I'll see you all tomorrow. No, I won't see you guys tomorrow, because I won't be streaming tomorrow, because I'm gonna have a visit. And then on... Yeah, I think Thursday. Thursday is the next time I will be live. I think. So yeah, goodbye!